Hey guys, my name's Gavin and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be doing another Spanish guitar beat tutorial inside of FL Studio, and I'm really going to be showing you guys how you can make your guitar sound a lot more realistic as opposed to just some VST guitar. And obviously I know that a real guitar is the way to go. I'm not saying that this sounds perfect, but for a fake VST guitar I think I did a pretty decent job at making it sound somewhat cool. And like also this one has like it has a different feel than like the normal VST guitar. So yeah, that's what this video is going to be about. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at gavinhadley_, because I always want to work with people. And email me loops through gavinhadleybeats@gmail.com. I have a free loop kit in the description down below. You can go click the Google Drive link and download it and send me what you make on Instagram or whatever. And yeah, so that's about all I have to say. Let's get into it. Let's shoot for like 25 likes. I'm gonna start by dragging in this first Contact guitar, and if you're wondering what it is called, it is the Contact Evolution Modern Nylon guitar that I recently picked up. And if you're looking for a guitar VST, I would recommend this one over something like Ample, just because I feel like the overall sound quality is more full. Ample is good for like sounds that a guitar makes, like different like slaps and like when you drag your hand, I don't know what it's called, I'm sure there's a better word, but like when you drag your hands along the guitar, like that kind of sound. This doesn't have as much of that, but actually you can do it, I just haven't explored it. So yeah, really definitely a good VST. I use the 2 to Tango preset. And yeah, so here, hopping into the MIDI, I have a couple of different presets on it. I'll talk about those after I break down the MIDI. And we're in the C sharp harmonic minor scale for this. So yeah, I just started out by laying a simple chord progression down. Nothing was strummed, nothing was it basically just looked like a piano chord progression. So yeah, we just have a C sharp minor chord right here, and then a G sharp major chord here, except the G sharp was normally in the bass unlike the normal version of this chord, but I put it up an octave to give it that kind of look. And then we just have an A major chord and then a G sharp major chord. So yeah, then we loop that over again, except we bring we change up this last chord a little bit. So here we had, or right here, we just had a G sharp major. Right here, this is a G sharp major too, except the bass note, which is G sharp, is moved up an octave. Yeah, so to give it kind of a different feel. And I'm gonna play just the chords, so I'm gonna get rid of these for a second. And all I did was press Alt S on my keyboard to give it a little bit of a strum, nothing too crazy. And then I did Alt R to randomize it, but again, nothing too crazy, because I really wanted the chords to sound full, almost like a piano, but not really, because you got to give it that strum feel if you're going for like a realistic guitar. So yeah, this is what it sounds like. Alright, so I feel like another thing that I like about this guitar preset, this guitar like VST so much instead of Contact, is like the grit that it has. It really has like that cool, it's really good for like samples and stuff in my opinion. So yeah, after that I laid down this top melody, and before I strummed anything, I actually had like everything like right on the grid, so that as you can see, these notes just going up the scale. Like this note was originally right here, and this one was probably around this area, because I'm pretty sure it's triplets. But yeah, so I strummed it. This went up the scale. I say it in all my videos. You have to have a call and response in your melodies. So this first part's gonna be the call here. So like this could be considered definitely a response, but I feel like this whole section is a response too. So it all depends like how you look at it. And a response is just like it's like, think of it as like answering back to that main melody. I guess I would actually kind of consider that second part a call, and then these last two notes, the C and the C sharp, are the response. So yeah, we just loop that over again. We have this go down, same thing, and then we have. So I wanted to switch up that last little bit of the pattern there to give it a different feel, because I felt like it was maybe just, it wasn't too repetitive, but it just needed a little bit more uniqueness to the melody. I'm going to say that. So yeah, I just used notes in the scale that I thought fit well. kind of, I felt like this G sharp did a good job like synergizing with the C sharp that restarts the top melody. So like when I make my melodies, I like to do a lot of backtracking, and I don't know, just making sure that everything loops well together, and it doesn't sound like awkward. So like say I started this melody. This probably wouldn't sound the worst, probably not the best example, but there's other notes in it, the top melody that you could use that wouldn't sound as good with that G sharp. So yeah, I guess that's my best way of explaining it. And also with the Spanish guitar, I'm trying to kind of place a lot of notes, really making like, I'm not gonna say complex melody, but like a full top line. I'm gonna say that. I don't like saying top line, but a full top line, I guess I can say. So yeah, now I'll talk about the effects that I put on it. I put cassette. If you don't have cassette and are looking for like a tape kind of plug-in, I would recommend this one a lot. Although it can be a little hard with the stability, it kind of wobbles even if you have the stability at 100, which makes it so there shouldn't be any wobbling. Still kind of wobbles, not the biggest deal, but something to think about. And I like using this Insight Bayside preset, and I have this cassette. You can like switch around the cassettes and stuff, and the presets at the top. And I just turn the static like all the way down for the most part. There's a little bit of static here, and then leave the rest how it is. I feel like it gives it a different kind of it adds to like the overall texture of the guitar. So here's what it sounds like without any effects, and then this is with the cassette. So a really subtle, just like grimy kind of effect. And then I put ozone elements on it, and I use the guitar depth and the huge guitar preset in the like the mastering things, because this kind of brings out that that high end in the guitar. It makes it sound more lively. So this is what it sounds like without that, and then with it. So it makes it a little bit louder and like gives it a little bit more high end. So yeah, and then obviously I just have some reverb here. It's mixed down pretty low. It's pretty subtle. You don't really notice it, but I felt like it did a good job filling up space in the guitar. So yeah, that's about it for that main sound. Now we're gonna hop into the recorder, and this is kind of a unique thing that I did with this beat. I used a recorder, and this is actually a free VST. If you look up, what's it called here, just record REC soprano soprano, I'm pretty sure it's soprano by Tech It Audio, you'll be able to find it. And I used it because I have a recorder and I was trying to play it, but it didn't work. So yeah, I made this instead. So this is just, it looks really crazy and like hard to do, but basically I knew I wanted to have this note be the starting note in the top line melody, but I wanted to also throw in 2 other notes in the scale to kind of build up to that point and make it sound like it's actually getting played. And if you listen to like a lot of recorders and stuff, there's a lot of these like glidey grace notes. So yeah, like you barely notice these. So I turn the velocities down on them too. And then I have this one transitioning down to these notes. So basically the longer notes like this C and this D sharp, this F and this G and the G sharp and the G, those are the main notes to think about. All the other tiny ones are just accents. You barely notice them. Like as you can see, these are a lot of like leads, like right here. It's like just using the same note that just got played, but just for a short amount of time before it glides back up to the higher note. And this is kind of resembles a little bit of a wave here. We have like this rise and this fall and this rise. Yeah, definitely a wave kind of shape. And if you're not familiar with the wave shape, I gotta stop saying it in all my videos. I say it in literally every one, but when you're making your melodies, I'm not gonna say try to follow that because I don't know what's really gonna like come out of that, but just like it's like an interesting observation that I have about melodies. Like I'm not quite sure how to explain it yet, but there's a lot of just like waviness in melodies. But this is gonna be the call right here of the melody. It's like, and then this is like the response, and then that loops over again. But here I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go up on my scale. I do this in a lot of my guitar, Spanish guitar kind of beats, because I really think it's something unique. Not that many other producers do, where you like go up the scale and really give it like that melodic kind of twist and make it sound a little bit less dark in a way, even though I'm in the harmonic minor scale, which is like a really dark kind of scale compared to other ones. But yeah, go down the scale. And yeah, I don't really have too much of an explanation for the rest of this. It's really just finding notes out. I say it in every tutorial, you're probably used to hearing it by now. Just finding notes that sound good to your ear and arranging them in a cool way. So like here, I tried to make it sound as realistic as possible, even though I'm using kind of just like, I don't know, a generic recorder preset. Like this is a triplet right here. I try to make it sound played out, not perfectly on time, because this would be better. That would make it sound more on time, but that makes it sound more realistic because it's a little bit off the grid. Because obviously when you're playing it like a recorder or any instrument, you're not going to be perfectly on the grid. So that's why you can see that a lot of these notes actually aren't right on the grid. They're actually skewed a little bit. So yeah, it's definitely something to think about when you're making your melodies. And then I did the backtracking thing here where I wanted to find a note that blended back well up to the C, because if you think about it, like I said a little bit ago, this is like really the first note in the top line. Like you can basically disregard those first two. You barely can even hear them. It's like I wanted to make sure this would go up and it would, the D sharp would blend well with the C, using that backtracking technique that I talk about a lot. Because I feel like when you loop your melodies, it's really important that they have a strong loop and a strong conclusion. Because that's what really makes a melody stand out and just feel complete and full. So yeah, there's that. I pressed Alt R and gave it a lot of randomization. Right down here you can see it. So yeah, that was just to make it sound more realistic still. And I might have even strummed it a little bit. I'm not quite sure if I did. It doesn't really matter. Still, stuff is still off the grid. But I put a lot of presets on it, as you can tell right here. I have cassette again with the same preset, same kind of effects chain on it. I dragged it back a lot to blend it in with the normal sound. And then I was experimenting with reverb and alter boy, but I didn't end up using them. I didn't really feel like the sample needed it. And then ozone elements, this is a mono sound, how it is. So I transitioned it to stereo, which basically means it fills up your headphones a little bit more, and creates more of that full sound. So this is what it sounds like by itself. And that's what the stereo you just heard, and then this is without the stereo. So you can, by this visual here, when it's mono, it's just a straight line on the visual, but when you turn it to stereo, you can feel it kind of transition. I don't know if you're listening to it on headphones, but you can feel it kind of transition more. Except that didn't work because I messed it up. There we go. So that's that sound. Now the rest of the sample is pretty simple. I just was trying to add just background elements to kind of fill out the melody a little bit more. So like here I have a piano, which is just copying pasting the root notes of the guitar that we made before, and then lowering the velocities a lot to kind of tuck it in the background and just fill up that like middle frequency that I felt like was kind of lacking. And the strum, I feel like really gave it like more of a like an enhanced darker feel, because like this melody, like the progression is already pretty dark, but just that strum really made it stand out. But like if you're just listening to the sample, I highly doubt you'd even really notice the piano, but it's there, and without it you could definitely tell a difference. It's kind of like I don't know, it's, I'm sure you guys know what I mean, so I'm not gonna try to waste my time explaining it. So here I just took out a little bit of low end from the sample because I felt like there was maybe a little bit too much. Even though I was just trying to like tuck it in the background, I just wanted to make sure that like it was tucked, it was doing its thing, but it wasn't too busy. So yeah, after that we have this vocal chop from Arcade, and all I did was find two notes that I thought sounded good, and I put a bunch of effects on it. So I have Little Alter Boy, I use this all the time. I put the pitch all the way up, and I didn't even blend it back. Normally I blend back this knob to like mix it in with the original sound, but I didn't. I just EQ'd a bunch of the lows and a bunch of the lows right here, and then a bunch of the high end, to make it sound kind of underwater, and then I added reverb. And that reason I made it sound underwater is because I wanted to just have it tucked. It's like a background element, because we already have like our main elements that you hear, which are the guitar and then that recorder. So I feel like that's all I needed for the sample. And then now here we have some bass. It's actually from the Scarby Rickenbacker bass from Contact. Probably the most realistic bass I've came from, and I really should have pressed Alt R on it, but it doesn't really matter. it's barely noticeable. So this is just following the root notes again. And then what did I add on that? Nothing. I just kept it how it was. I felt like it was fine. And that's that sound. I experimented with the flute right here. I didn't end up using it. I just stuck with the recorder. And then this is nothing. So that's basically the sample. Now I can show you how I laid it out. So I have all of these sounds right here. I selected them all. If you're in FL20, you probably can't see this. I right clicked and then I did quick render as audio clip, and then it individually renders out all of those sounds. So then if there was like a little bit of like empty space at the beginning where nothing was playing, I chopped that out for all the samples so they're still all starting at the same time. And then I would chop out everything after the 8-bar loop, so there's like no reverb blending into the different sections of the loop. And that's really important to do. It makes it a lot easier for producers to just chop stuff up and work on it easier without having to worry about like reverb getting in the way of a different separate sound. So yeah, I had all of this here, every sound playing at the same time, and then I just individually lined everyone up. I went over here to my master channel. I pressed this button which arms like the master channel, so everything playing in your entire melody or whatever you're making, it could be drums too, so just arms basically everything playing. You can't see this. You press this button, there's an option that says disc recording, and then you're going to want to press render to wave files and press start. And now what that's going to do is just take all of this and put it into one audio file. So I still did a little bit more post-processing here. I took my original sample and I pitched it down 2 semitones to make it have a little bit more low end and like overall like lower feel. And then after that, I took all these sounds here, put it right here, made it unique as a sample by pressing this button, and then you can't see it again because OBS is weird, and then you press make unique as sample, press OK, and then you'll have like a new sample on its own. I added a bunch of different things. So I added retro color to give it a little bit of static, stereo shaper to change the way that it's like coming out of the ears, but it's nothing too noticeable, and I even tucked it back a little bit. This felt like it gave the melody like a more sampled feel again. So ozonate elements, just the default, I just widened it a little bit. And then halftime, and then I dragged, actually no, it just says normal halftime. Just and I like the way it felt. I wanted to give whoever was using the sample more options that they could use while they were using the samples, and like you could use that as like an intro or a bridge. You could really use it wherever you wanted in the sample. But then after that, we just have the guitar right here, and the recorder, piano, the vocal, and then the bass. So yeah, that's really it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you were able to learn something, take something out of this, maybe improve your beats a little bit with this. And yeah, feel free to comment any video suggestions that you would like to see. And I don't know if I talked about this at the beginning of the video, but I might have already, but I didn't talk about it too well. If I did, I'm going to be streaming on YouTube every day that I don't upload, or maybe even days that I do upload. Like I'm probably going to stream the day that I upload this video, which will be March 31st, the day that I'm recording it. But yeah, I have a second monitor up here, which kind of makes it like normally my light was right here, so now my light is in the frame. But I think it's interesting like how I'm like surrounded by all these different elements. I think it is a cool camera shot. I don't know, and maybe you guys are mad at it, but yeah, I have a second monitor for like looking at stream chat and stuff. So yeah, definitely turn on notifications too, so you can see when I go live. You can join it, you can talk to me. Maybe I'll listen to some beats if we have enough people. But yeah, I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Keep making beats, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.